Hi everyone, this is Eric. A quick introduction of myself. I'm the Senior Regional Security Manager at Dyson for Great China. So I'm responsible for all security matters from R&D to manufacturing and supply chain and our retail sales, including the concern of corporate security. So this is my really honor to be here. And I personally learned a lot, especially from Renaka's sharing, the comprehensive sharing. So today I'm going to share and introduce the topic of next generation manufacturer. As Dyson is on the role of manufacturer as well as buyer, so the topic will, from both perspectives, to introduce how to secure our business continuity through risk assessment and buyer-suppliers collaboration. Excuse me? 是这个吗？ Oh, okay. I put it on the back side. So this is a very quick roadmap that a lot of electronics companies use. Start with the research and the design. Then, as a manufacturer, we produce the key component ourselves, which is the digital motors. In our Southeast Asia's manufacturing site. So we work with a lot of suppliers to provide plastic and metal component and the materials, including other raw materials. Then with the key component finished, we ship it to our external manufacturer for final assemble. So during the process, we focus a lot of impacting factors such as the impact to the capacities and labor leakage, market demands, and some external threats such as chip shortage. Then with the good finished in our external manufacturer around the world, actually we work with external manufacturer in various geological locations in APAC, in China, in EMEA, and in the US, in the Americas actually. So one of the unique strategies with my organization is we ship all these finished goods to overseas market to minimize duty and the tax, and also to achieve our goal of supply chain resilience and continuity. So moving to the next session, trans-regional shipment. We work with logistics suppliers like broker, carrier, and the provider of IoT, which is Internet of Things. So it helps us to bring all suppliers together to provide our visibility to the good transport. So the impact alongside of this process would be geopolitical issues like previous panel discussion already covered, and regional conflict, natural disasters, and above reason cause the rate and payroll prolong. So the last part, I will not go too deep as I think it will be introduced more by follow speakers. So the very first topic is BCP, Business Continuity Plan, and Buyer-Suppliers relationship. So from a global perspective, an integrated supplier system is crucial. So with my organization, to have a diversified supplying networking is one of the strategy. So we work, like mentioned, we work with external manufacturer around the world to ensure if one area got infected, others could continue its operation. Then product line. Actually, there is a saying in China that to put eggs in different basket, right? But actually, with enough basket, in each basket, you have put enough egg, because in the event of emergency, sometimes you can only carry one basket with you. So in the very beginning, our external manufacturer only product one or two category of our products. But now we start to invest more and more product line in each manufacturer. So which helps if one or several external manufacturer got infected, others could pick up the order and provide the product around to the world. Qualification. So this concept is that we all hope that we can work with the global highest standard suppliers, such as Flex, such as Foxconn. But sometimes, given the rate, given the efficiency, given the requirement of localization, we also work with a lot of private companies to listen from them, to learn their local experience. So during this process, we can also grow from them to be more adaptable in local markets. Next is the net and the tiered structure. So like a lot of company does, so we work with our supplier, but we also separate them into different levels. So the supplier help us for final assemble is tier 1. We also have working with tier 2 and tier 3 who provide us raw materials, provide us some plastic component. But there is a contract between our tier 2, tier 3, and our tier 1 final assemblers. So which help us to implement the same standard, but also have our tier 1 supplier to overlook and supervise the daily operation of supplier underneath them. Also, we work with like SOC and platform to monitor the progress of them and ensure that the standard is audited and implemented well enough. Then it moved to end-to-end engagement. With the collaboration with each supplier, we build up a shared visibility system to allow us to monitor the movement of valuable materials, finished good, and also it's crucial to know the scrapping process, how it works. Because in our industrials, that a lot of counterfeit and local competitor might be the potential threat for the finished good, for the material and our technology. Then move to the individual supplier management. Like all this, audit and assessment for the procedure, for the capability is what we all do. Then, additionally, to ensure our supplier have their organizational governance and their leadership's endorsement is crucial. Because if you only work with your supplier's security manager or auditor, it's probably hard for them to implement this standard alone and make necessary influence inside. Then if the organizational governance, including leadership and special task force involvement, that would help us to be successful. Then guidance and growth, like I mentioned, to work with some local and private company, you have to provide enough potential and guidance to allow them grow with you together. Sometimes these local private company could also meet your requirement of customization, so which is also some points. Then resource and always have a plan B. Help your supplier to identify the buffer and the strategical dips is essential, because sometimes we always too much focus on the daily operation, but actually this buffer and the dips require more resource. As a buyer, you are in the right position to request these additional investments, and helps them to plan for their broadened insurance. All of supplier has their own insurance policy to cover the direct loss, to cover the property damage. But sometimes business continuity plan in other level require the broadened insurance to ensure that your upstream impact from your order could also be kind of covered. Then always have a plan B to seek for an alternative outside of your current vendor pool. So in event of any interruption, so you can have a backup. Then my second topic, risk assessment for interest, for manufacturers' interest, and the BCP in buyer and suppliers collaboration. Risk assessment is the term that we are all very familiar with. Vivian and other speakers has introduced a lot. Another term always is associated with this concept is business impact analysis. The first concept helps us to identify the risk type and the possibilities. Sometimes it comes from inside, it comes from external, and sometimes it's against the two specific entity or manufacturing site, but sometimes it impacts the entire business flow. Then the second terms help us to identify the critical business process to allow us to understand that the sustainability of our key and the critical process. Also help us to actively review the tolerance in the event of interruption. Then recovery time and the resource required with the identification of critical business process in the event of an interruption, you have to quickly turn around with the plan of recover your partial business or to make your full business recovered. So that lead to another topic, how we allocate available resource and how we seek for additional support. That will be discussed in the next panel discussion session. So with the current effort of every individual to ensure the BCP with their organization, another concept, multi-entity BCP implementation, is what I'm going to talk about. So in a supplying network, maybe the impact and the interrupt of any individual would bring further impact to others. So once your upstream or your downstream get affected, it's important that to review your adaptation. Are you able to quickly adjust your capacity? You might receive more order or you might lose some order due to your capacities. Like what we are all being through that Red Sea crisis, we have to reroute our supply chain and shipment. Is it quick enough for us to implement this strategy? And also with the focus of upcoming threat, are you able to alert your stakeholder, other suppliers of this threat and risk? That's also a critical topic in multi-entities BCP implementation. Also, liability allocation. So we mentioned in the network, we have to be very clear, especially from a buyer's perspective. It helps each participant to be very focused on their role and the responsibility. Also, to minimize loss if the threat and the risk is unavoidable. And also, sometimes with additional resource like insurance, it helps us to transfer these residential risks. Last but not least, mutual assistance. It's a concept that is very popular in site operation environment, but also work in multi-entity BCP, because in the event of a threat that we all face challenge, then we could share resource to respond to natural disaster, but also we can share intelligence among our supply network. Also, sometimes with the capability, we could receive or transfer the order to ensure the entire business flow doesn't change, but it has to be led and coordinated by a buyer. Last session, an expectation and some practice from a buyer. So our goal with practice, to set up a supply chain, to map supply chain, you have to stand on a global perspective. So to build up the supplier network, you have to identify and be very clear who is your critical and the single source the supplier. Is it replaceable? And the relationship between different suppliers. You are not the only one to work with this individual. You have to be clear that they could talk and collaborate directly. And the dependency between these suppliers. Then on contractual terms, outside of the very common terms such as the requirement of the delivery, pricing, quality, you have to ensure that emergency provision is included, because sometimes your supplier would only provide you the lowest quotation, but without the consideration of additional investment on BCP and your physical deployment. Once case happens, you cannot expect they have extra resource to help you to minimize loss. And some special concerns with your organization, such as IP protection, data protection, and if you have any new product development requirement, that would be go first with the daily work. And last, ESG, popular terms, environmental, social, and governance. Like Victor mentioned, sometimes we are not only the security manager for the company, we have to jump out of box. Because the ESG issue would sometimes bring negative publicities, legal liabilities, and probably cause hard cutoff. In my organization, previously, we have experienced that our supplier doesn't really meet the internal CSR requirement. Then we just cut off all orders to them. Actually, it's a disaster to the supplier, but actually it also impacts our entire business flow to cause our destination market cannot receive their finished good for market and sales. So to work with CSR to jump out of security, especially with ESG, is what we can start to think about. Then supplier commitment is kind of my expectation. Like mentioned, quotation always have to include extra expense on BCP. And I hope that all of our suppliers could be very transparent and allow us have full visibility to their daily operation. For instance, that if you individually want to look for a best premium of insurance, you have to introduce what's your practice, and you have to expose your gap and your mitigation plan. So that would finally help you to get a best premium. BCP from strategy to execution. So BCP is not a concept. It requires suppliers' leadership's endorsement to ensure it's from strategy to execution and also being tested and exercised all the time. Robust resilience also consistent of insurance, responsibility transfer, and the material plan for operation recovery. Then last, this requirement and standard not only go to your supplier, you have to ensure your supplier put same requirement to their sub-supplier. So that's my sharing. Thank you.